Today's topic is driver requirements. If you're interested in starting a trucking company with box trucks, or if you're trying to grow an existing box truck company, you'll be interested to hear ways you can streamline the process and reduce your risk without making any of the mistakes that I made. With that being said, let's go back to my office and get started. Hello, there's Carlita right again. Today's topic is driver requirements. One thing you're gonna need when you're starting your business is drivers. Now, that driver could be you. When you're looking for a driver, I want you to understand that even though the box trucks are non-CDL trucks, that doesn't mean that anybody can drive them. You would think that a U-Haul truck, a U-Haul moving truck, will be comparable to a box truck, but I promise you it's not. The height is much different in most of these trucks. The weight that you're carrying is different than what is common in those moving trucks. And just the way that it moves in this road, it's way different. Just because it does not require a CDL doesn't mean a CDL might be the best candidate for you to be using. So just keep that in mind. These trucks are big and they do require some level of skill. And just by mere coincidence, it doesn't need a commercial A or B. But I will say that if you can drive those, if you have those licenses and candidates that want to drive for you, that would be your best decision to go with the candidate. So like I said, make sure the person who you're choosing to drive these trucks have experience, because there are nuances that you need to be mindful of. For example, if you hire someone and they don't have good eye-to-hand coordination and they don't think ahead when they're driving, they can drive your truck into a bridge, or they can follow GPS. They'll drive down county roads and city roads that are predated from the standard height, and they'll go under the bridge and damage the truck, right? So these are things that takes forethought and skill and experience, and unfortunately, some people only learn those things by a negative experience in an accident, or they're full of care and they're thinking about those things and following some best practices. So make sure that these are conversations that you have with people, and that you really consider how much risk do you really want to take by letting an inexperienced driver get in your truck and drive a load for you. Not only will it affect your business, but it'll affect the business who you're caring for, and it'll also affect people on the road. So what I'm noticing right now is a lot of insurance companies are changing their standard. I don't believe this is so much for Progressive, although I do believe they may increase the price if they see this, but they don't tell you what you can and cannot do at Progressive. But other companies are requiring that you submit a resume of your driver, and that they have 2 years experience driving commercial trucks, okay, 26-foot box trucks. That way they can mitigate their risk. So keep that in mind. That you want to follow that standard, even though it's not required all the time. It's just a really good standard to have to protect yourself and your business. Hey business champions, Carlita here. Over the next coming days, I want to do something a little bit different. I thought it would be fun to ask you guys what you wanted to learn. If you could take just 5 minutes and complete the survey linked below, and tell me what your single biggest challenge is in your business. If you could take just 30 seconds and tell me what that is, A, it would mean the world to me, and B, most importantly, I'll be able to use this information to gear upcoming information towards topics that specifically help you in your business. When it comes to driving, you want to make sure you pull a motor vehicle report, the MVR. You want to ensure that the person that you are hiring or bringing on board hasn't had any major accidents, doesn't make mistakes that are avoidable. And the only predictor of success and future behaviors is looking at past incidents and past records. That's going to be the way you're going to see, because a lot of times most people and most drivers are creatures of habit. And if they do something, they tend to do it over and over again without correcting themselves. Those who are smart understand that, and they fix those errors, and they make sure they don't get many speeding tickets, if any at all. They make sure they don't roll through a stop sign. They make sure that they give themselves enough time to get from point A to point B, so they're not speeding in the road, right? So these are things you're looking for, because if they do it in a personal vehicle or in a past company, they're gonna bring those bad habits over to your company, and you need to be able to make an informed decision on if you can handle that type of driver and that risk, because it will and it could impact your bottom line and your insurance costs. If you're hiring someone that's a friend or a family or an employee that you're really impressed with, and they have these demerits on their driving record, you may really want to reconsider, because it's not about friendliness, it's about business, and you need to make sure you do as much as you can to save as much as you can, as long as you can, okay? So MVR reports are needed to be pulled. And when you pull these MVR reports, you need to pull it by the state. There is a way you can request it you can request the state to give you a record for the state that they're in, the license, by filling out a certain form. If you want that form, just let me know and I'll show you where it's located on the FMCSA website. So it's a form that you fill out, and you can request a DMV record, or you can subscribe to a service like IntelliCorp, and they will pull the record for you in every state. That way you can see if someone had multiple licenses, that have multiple tickets or name change or whatever it could be. You'll be able to get that history on their driving history, not just in the state you're living in, but also out of state. The next driver requirement I want to talk about is drug testing. I do believe in drug testing. It doesn't matter what your beliefs are, it's just best practice, because you don't want anyone to be under the influence when they're driving these trucks. And not only that, you want to make sure your company's above board. Your drivers are above board and have character when it comes to their working relationships and following the rules. So making sure that you do a drug test for each candidate is going to incur some cost. So making sure that you have one for your drivers. Sometimes, depending on what customer you work with, if you do a contract, they will send the owner out for a drug test in most cases to make sure that person is not under any influence of cocaine or heroin or anything else, because it could be an issue if someone has a drug issue and they need money and they begin to sell the assets on the truck, or they begin to do things that lack character, right? So we want to make sure that we understand everything about the person, because we don't know how they're going to perform. We need as much data as possible, and drug testing is one of those points of reference that we use in trucking. Now, for the box truck, you do not have to sign up for the clearinghouse. And the clearinghouse is a random testing service that the semi-trucks are required to have for their employees. So you will not have to do that even if you're over the road for box trucks. Now, the next thing you want to make sure you look into are background checks. You want to make sure that you do a thorough check on the person to make sure they don't have any theft in their past, they don't have any acts of violence, because those are indicators that something may happen in the future. And you don't want to hire somebody who has a habit of stealing things or has a case that shows bad judgment to be under your company. Now, people do change, people do grow, and you can hire whomever you want, but you have to understand perceptions matter. And if you hire someone that has a history on their record that has theft on it or a violent crime, if an incident happens and they investigate your company, your drivers, they're going to be looking at you with a side eye, wondering what's going on with your thinking. Why would you allow a person with these types of personality traits to be under your company? Because they figure that birds of a feather flock together. Now, that doesn't mean that we know everything someone is doing, but every 6 to 12 months, We should be doing a background check on our employees and having the paperwork, the documentation to say that we are doing these due diligence reports to make sure nothing pops up, because we are handling thousands and millions of dollars of assets and property, and we have to make sure that our company is above board and our drivers understand how important their background, their license, and their record is to their job performance and their ability to make an income. So keep that in mind. Make sure you have background check, and I do agree you should do it for family as well, because you never know. You never know what your family has done either. It's going to cost something, but it's going to be far cheaper. So it's going to be a discount compared to the cost that would happen if you were to lose an asset or have a claim against you or lose your entire business over an incident that happens under your authority in your business. So now I'm going to go over some other things to keep in mind. They're in no particular order, but these are things that I think will help you in your business when it comes to drivers. I've already mentioned making sure they have past experience. So I'm going to reiterate that again. Make sure they have some type of past experience for the client that they're working for, or pair them with someone who does have the experience to be able to handle the job they're doing. When you hire someone, there are also some soft things, some soft skills they need to have, and that includes things like, are they on time? Are they punctual? Because these customers that you're going to be working for need to know that you're going to be able to meet a deadline or a timeline, because there are other factors that come into play that dictate whether or not they can unload you or load you. They have other drivers and trucks, and if one person is late, it affects the entire supply chain, and a domino effect takes place. So making sure that there is the skill of being able to manage your time and be on time. And before I go further, I will say these are values. So if on time is not one of your values or any other thing that I'm mentioning here, it's your business. You can do what you want. But I'm giving you the values that I have in my business when I'm looking for a candidate. And these are things that have helped me be successful and have helped me have high acclaim with our clients. The next thing is paying attention to detail. A driver really needs to be able to pay attention to detail, whether it's paperwork, whether it is when they're driving, whether it's loads, whether it's the truck. They need to have a keen idea of what's going on in and on their truck, which means they have to pay attention. They have to be focused on what they're doing, and they cannot be easily distracted. So that's one thing that I look for in a driver. I tell all my drivers, I'm paying you to pay attention. I'm paying you well to pay attention. So we all have to make sure that we cover ourselves and the company and the driver, and we do that if we're all paying attention, especially the driver. When I'm hiring someone, I'm looking for the problem solver. Can they think through a challenge? Can they find a solution? Are they always calling and asking things they should know? You know, for example, if they have a load, they have to get, they have 2 or 3 stops, and they don't know what to do or how to navigate the load or what stops to go to first. That's concerning. Now, it's different if they're just doing a gut check, or if they have something that's blocking them from completing a task and they want to just check in and get some extra ideas, but they're contributing ideas as well. They're not being indecisive and unsure. When they hear the right idea, they'll know that it's right, and they know how to be a team player when solving those problems. So I'm looking for people who can think and who make logical decisions, and who are team players and can do anything for a team that makes sense for the best interest of the business and the client. Communication. Now, this is a really big one for me. I need people who can tell me ahead of time what's going on, or give me an update of what has happened, or just to let me know what they're thinking. That way we can make sure we mitigate any issues, and I can communicate to our brokers, our shippers, our dispatchers, other drivers, right, to making sure that the entire business is able to flow steadily and seamlessly. So I do require that drivers communicate with me often, but that comes with me having a relationship with them and talking with them and finding out what's going on and asking, putting things in place that triggers their thinking of what is about to take place. So communication goes on both sides, but I do expect the driver to be able to let me know when they need a time off, let me know what's going on with their loads, let me know about traffic issues and delays so that we can put the proper measures in place to let the client know and make some changes before it's too late. A lot of drivers don't do this. A lot of companies do a poor job of communication. So that would be a very good opportunity for you as a company to be able to add value. How you communicate. Are you emailing? Are you texting? Are you calling? Are you making sure the paperwork has the right information on it and you're communicating through the document what has occurred, what this load was, what information was needed, how long you were there for, just different things you can do to make sure you're signaling information to the right people at the right time. Another value that I have is customer service. I believe strongly if you're in business for customer service. And the client is not our only customer. Each driver is each other's customer, and the owner is a customer. So every person we deal with, we are providing service to each other. And we have to make sure that we treat each other with a level of service when we're interacting. And I really believe that in our company, that service is the heartbeat and blood of a business. And if it's going to thrive, you're going to have good service. You're going to have good service. And good service doesn't always mean allowing someone to do what they want to do. But good service is doing what you said you're going to do, when you said you're going to do it, and how they expected it to happen. So I really believe in that value, and I think that will help you if you adopt that as well into your business at some level. So there you have it. Those are the points that I really wanted to make when it comes to, building your business and finding a driver. So as you begin to frame your mind around these things, whether you have a driver or whether you are the driver, you need to make sure that these are being adopted in your company. You want to keep the end in mind. So wherever you're trying to take the business, you want to do those things now while you're little as much as possible. That way it's beginning to form and take root into the culture of your organization. So making sure that you adopt some of these core values, these requirements, these values into your business. And that's it. That's all I have for you today. If this was beneficial to you, I want you to make sure that you leave a comment below and let me know what you liked. If there's anything that I did not go into any detail about and you want more detail, just let me know in the comment section and I'll be sure to respond to you. Now, if there are repeat questions, then I will just make a video and present to the whole group so that everyone's getting the same answer. All right, there we go. This was great. I enjoyed myself. I'm glad to be able to share my experience and my knowledge with you. My goal is to help you get up and running in the next 30 to 90 days if that's what you want to do. And this is one thing you have to have because drivers are critical to your business. So with that being said, make sure you do all the YouTube things. You like, subscribe, thumbs up, everything, right? You know what to do. And I will see you on the other side. Again, it's been real, and I thank you. Bye.